One of the things that I am really passionate about is helping people understand that it's never too late to do something they've always wanted. My dad went back for his PhD when he was in his late 50s. I changed my job when I was 30, 31. I switched my career entirely and started a new career. It's just never too late. And I think people get trapped in this thought process that once they get in a rut that they can't get out of it. You started writing after a full career, and I'm curious if you could talk to a little bit about what it was like to pick up a pen. Had you always known you wanted to be a writer? What was it like to start writing? And do you have any advice for anybody else who thinks I can never do this? I'm too old. I can't do this.
Sure. And are you implying I'm old?
Not at all. I'm implying your post career.
Post career. I'm very post career. And my other job was 180 degrees different. My uh, life retirement job was I was an engineer in a factory, which is very technical and very rigid and stressful. I guess when you're working and then you think if you're fortunate enough to be able to retire, you think, well, I'm always going to do X, Y, Z, and this is what I wanted to do. Um, I've written on and off through the years in some articles for some magazines and for like grandparents magazines. I'm really passionate about statistics. And I had one article in Women's World about angels and stuff. So I thought this is really, easy. And one thing I would stress is when you do retire, regardless of what age it is, you need to retire to something. You just can't sit in front of TV eating bonbons all day. Then you're gonna die. So anyhow, I'd had a little bit of success in my middle age and in youth with writing, and I thought, well, it can't be that hard. Well, little did I know, I joined a writing group and realized how little I did know. And I think a big change or a big push for me is to try to sell my work and to get into the marketing. And I'm in a group now that did a personality study or whatever, what motivates me. Well, I love to learn, and there's a lot to learn about writing and marketing. And I think that's keeping my mind active and gives me goals, and I get to express myself and I get to try different things. And it's my world and my work, and I don't have a big company telling me what to do anymore. So I love the process. And, I guess if I had a bit of advice, it would be to just jump in and do it.
Yeah.
And I may never be a New York Times bestseller. I'll cross everything, but I'm enjoying my,
Yeah.
and I'm learning a lot, and I'm fascinated that there's a whole world out there that I didn't know anything about. So I guess it's never too late. I'm 73, and I figure I have a few more years and crank out a few more books and about old women. So
Post career women, let's call it.
post, you really need something to retire to. You
Yeah.
can't just, and maybe people can go fishing their whole life and some people do travel their whole life, and if that's their dream. So I thought it's better late than never, or better, don't wait too long, whatever, pick one of those things.
Right.
So
I think when you think about the New York Times bestseller list, there's a lot of manipulation in the publishing world about numbers and things. And I try and tell myself part of the reason for writing, and I think especially because I came to writing later too. I wanted to tell my stories. So there
sure.
were stories inside me that I wanted to get out, and that's just as important as selling the books and making a living out
And
of it. So
I think that's true. I want them to exist. This past weekend, I got a burr up my butt about, there was a story I wanted to tell about my college. and I just wrote a 1,500 word memoir, and it's like I just felt driven. I did put it out on Amazon, and maybe no one will buy it, but it exists.
Right.
It exists.
So you have a new book outside of the murder mystery series that you have referred to as your heart book. What makes this story something that's been lingering in your heart for so many years? And tell us a little bit about it.
Um, I wrote a short story for this book. First of all, I have a huge curiosity in many of my books and maybe future books. Where is your soul? Where do things go after we pass away? I think about my grandma, who was probably my age when she passed away, but she was a young woman once.
Right.
And where do those memories go? Where does that person go in the big cosmic universe? So I had written a short story that won first place at a uh, small writing, and then I wrote a novel for it, and then rewrote that. Yes, the story has always stuck with me because it does have ghosts. They're not necessarily pulling pranks on people, but it's a I want to take a nod that people existed before us, and um, societies existed before. So in the book, it takes place during the Great Depression, which growing up with my mother, I felt very able to write about, very authentic. And it's in the Deep South, and there's a lot of much the Civil War era, and the people and the impact that in the deep South, and during the Great Depression, and just the culture. So that's really the purpose that the ghosts serve, is to just give a nod back to an era before us and how important it was. And somehow I think those things must still exist in the big thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody probably who reaches a certain age starts to think about those things, or even just thinking about their own parents or something as kids. Where did those people, even, I mean, let's say my parents are still alive, but I never knew them as teenagers. Where does where, how does that still
we're
exist anywhere?
and I don't think it conflicts with the idea of belief in life, but I conflicts with that. I just think, where did those experiences, where did those awareness go? Did they just poof and vanish when those people pass on? And I like to think and they still exist.
And is it a mystery though? Does it still have a mystery to it?
Yeah, it
Okay.
does, but it's not. The whole book is about unfolding the corruption,
Okay.
and the ghosts walking around like people. So they're not really spooky ghosts. They're just there.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to check it out for sure. I like the
Okay.
premise. I like thinking about those questions. We've reached our last question, which is my favorite question to ask writers. I just think this is so much fun, and I'm always impressed with everybody's answers. So, describe your series, and we're talking about the Myrtle Glubber series. Describe your series in 3 words. The catch is that you can only use words that start with a letter from a word in one of your titles. So your choices are W for right, M for me and murder, C for code and chilling, R for recipe, G for ghost, and S for story.
I'm picking M. Um, and for Merlot, although
Okay.
so Myrtle is an older woman, and people, some I've gotten some comments that people can't believe that a person could eat and drink that much as Myrtle, my floof, does. Hey, this is my fantasy, to be able to eat and drink and get drunk and not gain too much mayhem. Myrtle's kind of a klutz, and things never go well. Steps in it a lot or spills something on her quite a bit. So I have two: Mayhem, Merlot. How about just Mystery? How does that go? I do think everybody writes a little bit differently, and I kind of patterned mine after Murder, She Wrote. Like all
Mhm.
this stuff is going on, and then at the very last scene or chapter, it comes together. So
Right.
I try and have a surprise in it. So we'll do Mystery.
All right,
Okay.
excellent. Well, thank you very much, Philippa. It was great
Thank you.
talking to you. Everybody who is watching this, please follow Philippa on TikTok. Please go out and buy her Myrtle Glubber series, but also please check out her new book.
It's called the Lingering Dead.
Please, everybody,
The
check that
Lingering.
out as well. And thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you so much, Dory. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.